And we got some more Twitter files out here today. They just dropped in the middle of the afternoon, and taking a look at this stuff, and guess what? We're going buck wild, okay? And now we're talking about the U.S. military running PsyOps, using social media. Oh, we're just blasting off into the ether on this one, but got a whole bunch of little stories out there as well to just clear up some stuff from the past couple of days, okay? Title 42 has been extended by the Supreme Court, so everybody waiting at the border to get across free and easy, to get a free Obama phone or whatever, to get flued out across the country, they're just going to have to wait for a couple of days. Carrie Lake's lawsuit was taken up, and they are in fact going to be going to trial, so when I get any information on that, I'd imagine her and her team are probably looking at ballots right now, so that's going to be very interesting. Might have some stuff on that throughout the rest of the week, but I think that pretty much clears everything up. And oh yeah, Trump is just saying that all of those charges against him are going to be fake and nonsense to begin with, which is kind of like, yeah, you just take a look at the evidence, and it's like, we know they've investigated this stuff time and time again. So what ultimately are you going to find? Oh, okay, cool, because yeah, you're going to have to present, your little PowerPoint presentation there, Democrats, okay, to the other side that's able to rebut any of those claims. So it's not going to be as one-sided as you like, but we'll just have to deal with that whenever that ends up manifesting, see if there's going to be any charges ultimately laid, because yes, we're all just waiting on that shoe to drop. But for right now, we got some wild stuff, okay? And I'm not really that big on conspiracy theory, and kind of like through this year, okay, maybe it was a little bit more on like the whole, deep state pulling the strings and all that stuff. I've kind of even walked back on any of those positions, okay, because once you start to address and analyze the individual operations, the individual people that are out there, it's a really easy mental pathway to just walk down and really find out that, all of these people, they're just all kind of adhering to one or two different ideologies. And if you start to remove all of that stuff, okay, or even if you're just able to address those situations as they arise, okay, realizing that everybody's doing things in service of, well, just kind of a big feminized world order, there's really not all that much to it, okay? There's no conspiracy theory that's out there, okay? Democrats continue to pander for the people that elect them, ergo single female voters, so that's kind of where they get all of their policy the way that they are. That's the biggest independent voting bloc. They just go ahead and vote for them, okay? They just go ahead and pander to that group. They get assured victory going forward into the future. It's like, it's not that big of a surprise anymore, so yeah, I guess any of those aspersions that would have required me to strap on the old tinfoil hat, when it comes to government, never really, doesn't really hold that much water anymore. So yeah, for people that say, oh, you just get radicalized when you go on the internet, I would argue that even though I wasn't that deep in that camp beforehand, I've probably got less radicalized the more news I look at. Kind of a weird concept, I guess, but yeah, and then when it comes to like aliens and all that shit, secret societies and all that stuff, I was never one of those guys to begin with, okay? I think that thanks to the science, the actual science, not trademark the science, you can pretty much trace the beginning of the world all the way back to the when there were single-celled organisms running around this joint. See the different catastrophes that have befallen the world, where everything was underwater and then everything was above board. There was more land mass and now there's less, and now there's going to be more again. It's like, oh, climate change and all that stuff. So none of this stuff really shocks me at this point in time. So I don't know what we're going to ultimately get from batch 8 to the Twitter files, but we'll just go in with an open mind on this one, okay? And an open mind is very dangerous, especially in the hands of the FBI running PsyOps, I guess. Holy, all right, so journalist Lee Fang, yeah, I guess this was supposed to be Barry Weiss's day, but yeah, I guess all of her virtue signaling and getting chewed out on a public forum by Elon Musk kind of got her to skip a step. See if she'll ever come back to this. I don't know, man, I don't know, but Lee Fang was taking point on this one, and it's one of the shorter releases, because we got the whole thing, and we'll go through this in a minute, but it's only 25 beats long, so we'll see what we can get. In a lengthy thread, well, it's shorter. The rest of the other stuff that we've seen before, it's been anywhere between the late 30s and mid 40s. About 45, 47 has been about the average length of the previous 7. So this one's considerably shorter. Reposted by Twitter owner Elon Musk, and he still hasn't made a call one way or another as to if he's going to be stepping down. So all of that stuff as well is still out there for the time being, but who knows. Fang wrote that despite promises to shut down covert state-run propaganda networks, Twitter documents show that the social media giant directly assisted the United States influence operations. Sorry if you heard any hissing in the background. I got my little heater going because it's 35 below here still. Celsius, not Fahrenheit. Well, I think everything crosses over at 36 below anyways. Yeah, it was like that this morning. And just another bit of news that's out there. A big, what are they calling it now? A Christmas bomb is going to be hitting most of the United States, so it's going to be cold. Not quite as cold as it is up here, but who's bragging, right? Twitter has claimed for years that they make concerted efforts to detect and thwart government-backed platform manipulation. Here's Twitter testifying to Congress about the pledge to rapidly identify and shut down all state-backed covert information operations and deceptive propaganda. I wonder where that one is right there. I don't know if we really want to go on that one. Okay. Might as well just run through this beat by beat. We already got the overview, so here's right from the top, and I'll link to this obviously as always. Okay, how Twitter quietly aided in the Pentagon's. Oh, the Pentagon. I thought this was the FBI. My mistake. No. We're just going to the entire Department of Defense. Sweet. The Pentagon's covert online PsyOps campaign. Despite promises to shut down covert state-run propaganda networks, yes, Twitter documents show all of this stuff. Twitter has claimed for years that they make concerted efforts to detect and thwart government-backed platform manipulation. There's, I guess, a piece of their policy right there. I won't read all of that stuff, but their pledge. Okay, Twitter defines state-backed information operations as coordinated platform manipulation efforts that can be attributed with a high degree of confidence to state-affiliated actors. Oh, okay, cool. Well, we already know that the FBI paid to the tune of $3.5 million for access directly to Twitter. Lord only knows how much money they shelled out for Instagram and Facebook, but I'll continue. But behind the scenes, Twitter gave approval and special protection to the U.S. military's online psychological influence operations. Ooh. Despite knowledge that Pentagon propaganda accounts used covert identities, okay, Twitter did not suspend many of the accounts around 2 years or more. Some remain active. I wonder for how much longer they're going to remain active. In 2017, a U.S. Central Command, so CENTCOM official, sent Twitter a list of 52 Arab language accounts who used to amplify certain messages. Whoa, holy! The official asked for priority service for 6 accounts, verification for 1, and whitelist abilities for the others. Very interesting. Okay, yeah, whitelisted, is there such a thing? Bruh, you know, and some of your other co-workers have specific access into this stuff, so just stop it. One of them, Yemen Current, okay, is currently not indexing. AR Justice currently has a request in for verification, but hasn't heard anything. Interesting. So just asking to skip the line on this stuff, very interesting. The same day, CENTCOM sent a list. Twitter officials used the tool to grant special whitelist tag and essentially provides verification status to accounts without a blue check mark, meaning that they are exempt from spam abuse flags. Oh, more likely visible and trend on hashtags, so to get priority posting when it comes to replies. Interesting. CENTCOM accounts had a list tweeted frequently about the U.S. military priorities in the Middle East, including promoting anti-Iran messaging, promoting the Saudi Arabia U.S.-backed war in Yemen, and accurate U.S. drone strikes that claim to hit only terrorists. Really, bro? Really? Interesting. Okay, I can't read Sanskrit. I don't know, is that Sanskrit? I can't read any of that stuff, so I gotta take your word for it. CENTCOM then shifted strategies and deleted disclosures of ties to Twitter accounts. The bios of the accounts changed to seemingly organic profiles. One bio read, Euphrates Pulse, while another used an apparent deepfake profile pic and claimed to be a source of Iraqi opinion. Very interesting, very interesting. One Twitter official who spoke to me said that he feels Merch deceived by the covert shift. Still, many emails throughout 2020, when everybody was all sat at home and spending more time on social media because they were being told by the federal government that, in fact, the current thing going around right now was really detrimental, and we all just need to do our part. Remember, 15 days to flatten the curve so you can sit at home and be indoctrinated. Very interesting, very interesting. For example, Twitter lawyer Jim Baker, oh yes, formerly of the FBI, we've made acquaintances, haven't we? Mused in a July 2020 email about an upcoming DoD meeting that the Pentagon used poor tradecraft in setting up its network and seeking strategies for not exposing the accounts that are linked to each other or to DoD, Department of Defense, or the USG. I'm not that familiar with USG, but I'd imagine it's still another deep state apparati. Stacey Cardinal, another Twitter attorney, replied that the Pentagon wanted SCIF and may want to retroactively classify its social media activities to obfuscate their activity in the space, and that this may represent an overclassification to avoid embarrassment. Interesting. Listen, we want to run these accounts so we can have, just free range, and we don't want to have to harass you in order to get, special treatment. So if you just go ahead and afford us that stuff, that'd be great. Several other 2020 emails, high-level Twitter executives and lawyers discussed the covert network and even recirculated the 2017 list from CENTCOM and shared another list of 157 undisclosed Pentagon accounts. Again, mostly focused on Middle East military issues. Did they ever pivot on any of this stuff? The account tweeted in Russian and Arabic on U.S. military issues in Syria and ISIS, and also did not disclose Pentagon ties. Many of these secretive U.S. military propaganda accounts, despite detection by Twitter in as late as 2020 or potentially earlier, continued tweeting throughout the year, some not suspended until May 2022 or later, according to records Li Fang reviewed. So in August of 2022, so not that long ago, a couple months ago, Stanford Internet Observatory. I thought we talked about Stanford in some capacity yesterday as well. Report exposed a U.S. military covert propaganda network on Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and other apps using fake news portals and deepfake images and memes against U.S. foreign adversaries. Interesting. A link to that study, I guess, is provided right there. U.S. propaganda networks relentlessly pushed narratives against Russia, China, and other foreign countries. Wow, stop me if you've heard this before. They accused Iran of threatening Iraq's water security, and flooding the country with crystal meth. That's a big old claim right there. Normally, if you're going to be talking about the deep state apparatus, you would be talking about flooding those communities with heroin or crack cocaine, but crystal meth, that's a new one. Stanford report did not identify all of the accounts in the network, but the one they did name was the exact same Twitter account CENTCOM had asked for whitelist privileges in a 2017 email. Very interesting. They just got a new profile picture. No longer anybody rowing a boat or anything like that. What do we got? MK Tashif. Okay, which one was that? Okay, so we go back up here. None of them that's on there, but I guess it would have been a part of this. One of these lists that's on here. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. In subsequent reporting, Twitter had cast as an unbiased hero for removing a network of fake user accounts promoting pro-Western policy positions. But when it comes to attacking those other positions, I understand. They get preferential treatment. Twitter's comms teams was closely in touch with reporters working to minimize Twitter's role. When the Washington Post reported on the scandal, Twitter officials congratulated each other because the story didn't mention any Twitter employees and focused largely on the Pentagon. Don't mind the man actually, pulling the strings behind the curtain. Okay, we'll just go ahead and put the Pentagon out there first and foremost. Conduct of the U.S. military's covert network stands in stark contrast with how Twitter has boasted about rapidly identifying and taking down covert accounts tied to state-backed influence operations, including Thailand, Russia, Venezuela, and others since 2016. Here's the piece that Li Feng, oh, okay, I guess that's probably why this guy was directly contacted in order to report on this. Okay, he's given access to Twitter for a few days. Reporting on this, I guess, worked at The Intercept. Okay, cool. Twitter had no input into anything I did or wrote, and the searches were carried out by a Twitter attorney and what he could see. And then finally, yes, you could follow him. Seems to work. He's got his own Substack and all that stuff. Very interesting. Very interesting. They were able to just simply operate and push the agenda of the Pentagon in order to promote propaganda against the enemy of the military-industrial complex. One Twitter message released by Fang, it shows that Twitter's public relations, I'm going back to the article here, see if we missed anything or if there's some additional light being shed on this. Okay, minimize Twitter's role. At one point, Twitter officials congratulated each other after the Washington Post story, where he talked about that. Twitter spokesman Nick Pickles, he was brought up, Thursday or Friday's drops, one of the Trump arcs, okay? He delivered testimony before the House Intelligence Committee telling lawmakers that the firm was taking aggressive actions to shut down coordinated platform manipulation efforts. Interesting. That kind of stands in stark contrast to the celebratory high fives being exchanged behind the scenes by government agencies. He did not say whether that involved the U.S. government. Combating attempts to interfere in conversations on Twitter remains a top priority for the company, and we continue to invest heavily in our detection, disruption, and transparency efforts related to state-backed information operations. Our goal is to remove bad faith actors and to advance public understanding of these critical topics. Yep, from our point of view, don't you dare look at anything else, because all of that shit, it'll get blacklisted and nobody will be able to search for it and look for it. You know what will be promoted though? Whatever the deep state wants you to see. Very interesting. And you know what? All of this stuff wouldn't have been known if it wasn't for one man right there letting the goods out of the bag for all the world to see. So, wasn't quite the direction anybody would have anticipated the Twitter files taking, but to just show how deep the rabbit hole goes as to how the federal government is using social media to influence the thoughts and opinions of people out there. Most people have theorized that, and now at least we have proof in some form or fashion. See where the next drop goes after this, because we're far from done on this one, especially brand new reporter on this one. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.